The CALL7 investigators uncovering violent crimes not being prosecuted. CALL7 investigator Keli Rabon is live.
And Kelly, you have found this is a significant problem in Denver.
That's right. Our investigation found in Denver, 36% of felony cases are not prosecuted. And even more surprising, more than 70% of felony sex assaults aren't prosecuted either. We wanted to know why.
I was scared. I was confused.
2 years ago, a night Michelle wishes she could forget.
There are parts I very vividly remember, but there are also parts that I had to blink out.
She was 16 years old, traveling with her classmates back to high school in Garfield County. But bad weather canceled their flight, forcing them to spend the night in a Denver hotel.
One of the boys bought alcohol, and we drank, and I'd never drinking before.
That night, Michelle says 2 boys she thought were her friends held her down and raped her.
I was crying, and at one point one of them said, maybe we should stop. I feel like we're raping her. And the other guy, he just responded, no, she's just a virgin, so she's emotional. She'll be fine.
3 days later, she reported the attack to the Garfield County Sheriff's Department, who transferred the case to Denver police. But that's when Michelle says the investigation seemed to stall.
No one, as far as I know, contacted any of the witnesses that I had. When I spoke to a detective once, and I was pretty much told that there wasn't much that could be done.
1 year later, she received the call. The Denver District Attorney's Office had declined to prosecute her case.
That was devastating for me.
And she's not alone. The CALL7 investigators analyzed the Denver DA's own data, finding Denver declines to prosecute 36% of all felony cases presented by police. And when it comes to felony sexual assaults, 71% are declined.
I know what victims deserve. I've been doing this for 30 years.
For months, through emails and phone calls, we requested an on-camera interview with Denver District Attorney Mitch Morrisy.
We've tried for 5 months to interview with you.
To you off camera.
Each time, he refused. So we found him outside of work.
More than happy to talk to you off camera, answer any questions that you have.
But when we met in the District Attorney's office for the off-camera discussion, Morrisy and his spokeswoman had a camera of their own.
So we can document the conversation.
So then why can't we document the conversation?
Do you want to have this conversation or not?
Well, we're just trying to make sure that we're on the same page.
We're on the same page. We're off camera, we're on camera. If you don't want to do it this way, then I got other things to do. So it's up to you.
We obtained their video through open records laws so you could hear Morrisy's explanation for deciding not to prosecute hundreds of cases.
Well, we don't do it based on statistics. We do it on a case-by-case analysis.
Then the question is, why are so many individual cases not being accepted?
Well, we review the cases with a standard of a reasonable likelihood of conviction.
Morrisy never agreed to sit down for our on-camera interview, but told us comparing jurisdictions is meaningless, especially when Denver has a quarter of the violent crime in Colorado.
Denver is a lot different than a lot of places in this country, certainly different than a lot of places in this state. So the fact that our numbers are different does not surprise me at all.
So when you say that they're different, what do you mean?
There's no LODO in most towns in Denver, in Colorado. That's a significant difference.
What does that mean?
There's no lower downtown where you have a large population of young people drinking and engaging in what goes on down in LODO.
That, to me, is an excuse. It's not a reason.
Chris Michio is a former New York City prosecutor who worked sexual assault cases. She's now a University of Denver law professor.
What do you think they're going to need?
She says Denver's low prosecution rates are unacceptable.
It's unconscionable to me that those statistics exist in this county.
And what does that say to the victim?
It says to the victim, we don't give a damn.
While Michio says prosecutors have an obligation to only accept cases when there's reasonable likelihood of conviction, which Morrisy says he does, those decisions are very subjective.
Prosecutors are looking for the perfect case. And that's not the way the system should operate. And that's not the way the system is operated in other jurisdictions.
We obtained data from 7 Front Range judicial districts and 3 similar-sized counties across the country. They all rejected fewer cases than Denver. Though many weren't able to break out felony sex assault rates, Jefferson County was one that could.
And we want to be aggressive in these cases.
District Attorney Peter Weir says in the last 3 years, his office declined to prosecute 8% of felony cases presented by police and 29% of felony sex assaults.
Our process is to do a thorough analysis of each of the cases based on its merits.
Though Weir would not comment directly on Denver and its process, he said he would want to know if his office was refusing that many cases.
We always have to realize that no matter how well we're doing a job, there's always room for improvement.
We are not going to lower the ethical standards in this office because you have some statistics that I haven't seen, haven't been able to analyze, and can't determine if somebody is using a different standard. But we're not going to change that standard.
The system often just re-victimizes the victim, and it's hard to move on when nothing's being done.
Michelle says she feels like her case is like so many others in Denver. Prosecution declined. Her day in court denied.
I had evidence, I had witnesses, and to know that something like that's dropped and to know that that's happening to so many other people is just, it's horrible.
Denver police reopened Michelle's case after we started asking questions, and Morrisy says any sex assault cases that are declined must be signed off on by 2 prosecutors. Now you can watch the entire video of our meeting with Morrisy on thedenverchannel.com. I'm CALL7 investigator Keli Rabon.
Now, if you have a story idea for the CALL7 investigators, call 303-832-7777, or you can send an email to CALL7@thedenverchannel.com.